Hey guys, happy Friday. Super excited to get this started. So one of my favorite things to do is teach on this topic because I truly believe that creating an online course has unlimited potential for almost any company out there. And I'm not going to say it's the only thing that allows you to scale your business, but it is one thing that I think allows you to scale faster than anything else. So right now we're doing online course Alchemy live, and this is going to be a 3-part course, so 3 videos, and then each day after the video is released, we're going to be doing a live Facebook Live like this. So today it's on the premium course Elixir. If you haven't signed up for online course Alchemy yet, the link, you can go to onlinecourse.mastermind.com, or I'll paste in the link. So I also want, what's the word? Oh, you to post questions in the comments, because I like thrive off of getting questions, and I think it like just makes everything a lot more fun. But in the interim, until any questions come up, I have some that people have posted previously. I'm going to start going ahead and teaching. So hopefully you got a chance to watch the video. If you didn't, we'll do enough of a recap that you'll understand. I also, leave me a comment if you are on live right now. I'm using a new system, which I would not recommend, like, is the smartest thing to do without testing it, and it's called Restream.io. I think I've heard really good things about it, but I just don't know if it's really working. What it's supposed to be able to do is it's supposed to be live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and then multiple places on the post. So like in the online course mastermind Facebook group and on my profile. So there's a chance it could not be working, maybe working. Let me see. I have my other laptop here. So yeah, leave me a comment to let me know if you're here. And if I can't see them, oh, where is your dog? Scott. My dog is sleeping, being a little angel puppy. I'm sure she'll wake up because she has like a sixth sense where anytime I get on video or a client call or something where she's not being the center of attention, I don't know, like this her intuition spikes up and then usually starts doing random things in the background, and I don't notice till afterwards. It's so funny. Okay, but I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully it's still up here. And what we're talking about today, like the premium course Elixir, in honor of Halloween, which is one of my favorite holidays. This is really the point of this module, is to help demystify what it takes to truly create a successful course. Because one of my pet peeves is when I see people talking about creating a course and they try to paint the picture that it's just going to bring like immediate fortune to you, and like when you finish your course, you're gonna make $1 bazillion. That's just not the case. Like, there are so many other things that go into creating and launching, selling, and marketing a successful course, because you could have the best course in the history of the world. Like, it's just absolutely amazing. But if no one's purchasing it, I don't know like how beneficial that's going to be towards you or to anyone else, since no one else has seen it. So when it comes to like the most successful courses, like I've done this for 6 years, and after you do something long enough, like Tony Robbins always says, like, success leaves clues, or he'd have to be an idiot not to have seen patterns after doing it for 30 years doing what he does. And the same thing goes, like for me, like I haven't done it for 30 years, but 6 years, I've been able to see like the patterns that show up over and over again that differentiate like the winners and the losers. I know it's kind of a bad way to say, like a mean way of saying it, but are the amateurs from the pros. And these 6 core elements is what I truly believe differentiate it. So let me just make sure my iPad is showing. As usual, I have so many things up. Share my iPad. Okay, so that is that. And then let's see. There we go. Hopefully you can see this. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger if I can. Okay, so what we're doing here is they're talking about what I consider to be like the 6 key elements that make up a truly successful course. Not just the content, but also everything that goes into actually getting it out there into the world. And these, I'm just going to list them off, and then we can go into more discussion about it. So number 1 is your irresistible offer. And this is essentially like the way that you're positioning your course and getting it out there so that other people know about it, and you're creating something that people actually want. Like, one of the biggest mistakes I see people make is starting to create a course before they actually validate it. And there's so many things obviously wrong with that, but most importantly is you don't really know. You have an idea, you have a hypothesis that this is something that someone wants, but you don't really understand that, or you don't know for certain if there is a need for it, and even more importantly, if people are willing to pay for it. So we'll go over like some ways that you can create or test that hypothesis. Number 2 is going to be having the proper course structure. And so I talk about this all the time. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about, because there really is, like, this is one of the things I think there's a lot of like art and science to go into this process all together, but this is really as close to a science as it possibly could be. Everything else, hold on, this is bugging me. I went to move my iPad. Oh, I moved it on my screen. That's how I do it. I'm trying to move it on eCamp. Okay. There we go. That's better, kind of. But yeah, so this is one of the things that I think is a lot more of science than art. And the cool thing about that is that science, there's more of a methodology, like there's a process that you can follow, there's patterns, and it's systematic. And so having the proper course structure, you're creating your content in a way that it's set up that it's easy to understand, it's clear navigation, and it's not overwhelming. And then you're also incorporating key elements that not only are teaching content, because people don't need more information. You have enough information, you're completely inundated with it. What people want is a systematic, step-by-step process that's going to get them from A to Z, or from where they are to where they want to be. So if your customer is here, say they are, I'm going to think of like a relationship coach. So you're creating a course for newlyweds, and where's A? Well, like, this couple just got married and they're fighting about a bunch of stupid stuff, like how to, like, finances, combining it. I don't know where I'm pulling this out of. But there's a lot of, like, I guess I've heard, I'm not married, I've never been married, but I've heard the first year of marriage can be really difficult. So if you were a relationship coach and you were creating a course for someone, for newlyweds, like, to just, I don't know, just absolutely like do amazing in their first year of marriage, where your customer is right now is like they might be fighting, they might not know how to handle situations, and they're looking for some type of resource to help guide them through this process. That's where they are now and where they want to be. So A to Z, this is the pathway they want to go. They want to be like happy in love and like how newlyweds should be. So now you know that where your customer is, you know where your customer wants to be. Now you want to create the action steps that are going to get them from point A to point Z. And then those are going to become your milestones for your course. And on top of that, you're also going to incorporate key elements that help them take action, like worksheets, resources. If it was like a business course, like templates or swipe file, a lot of things like that. Next up, I think is really important. Number 3 is having high quality content. And back in the day, before online courses were so prevalent, and before like the competition like continued to increase in this area, you could get away with a course that was like just kind of like subpar looking. The course, as long as the content was good, that's all that really mattered. And of course, that's still number 1. That's still the most important. But people weren't expecting as much as they are now because it was still new. There was novelty to it. But now the bar is continuing to raise. That I think the way that you present yourself, it definitely increases the perceived value and real value of the course, and therefore is going to determine how much you can charge for it, the demand, how easily you're going to be able to get affiliate partners to help promote the content for you. So there's a lot that goes into this part of it, but the high quality content would be like the quality of your videos, the quality of your audio, your worksheets, and things like that. So again, post comments in the link if you have any. I'm trying to look back because I don't think they're showing up on my screen. So now, number 4, we're going to move on to the well-designed membership site. Again, this kind of goes like back to what I was saying right here. is that back in the day, you could get away with a course that kind of looked very ugly. That's all that really mattered. And with the competition and just the prevalence of courses, I think that it's really important to have a course platform that looks the part. Like you're presenting yourself just like you wouldn't show up at a meeting with like sweats on and I don't know, like a torn t-shirt or something in person. The way that you're presenting yourself in the course platform is definitely going to dictate how your authority status. And now we can move on to number 5, which is the marketing army. And so your marketing army is how you're able to like expedite or exponentially increase the number of people that hear about your launch. And I think the fastest and the best way to do this is by having an affiliate program or a referral partner program. And so if you've watched one of my other previous videos on, I wonder if I have it up here. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Actually. Procreate. Yeah, so I talked here about how you sell your course. There's really 3 main ways to do it. It's either going to be to build, meaning build your own audience, then to borrow, and that's what I'm talking about with the marketing army, where you're actually borrowing other people's email lists and leveraging their authority and their trust. And then the third is buy, and so where you're buying paid traffic. And I think the best is the blend between these 3 that really create a strong marketing and sales strategy. You don't want to rely on one over the other too much, but depending on where you are in the process, the stage is going to dictate which one you should be focusing on the most. So if you're creating a course right now and you don't have your own like you don't have your own audience, you don't have your own following, then this is going to be huge for you. That pen's not gonna work. That's a pink splatter. This is pink splatter pen. Okay, yeah. So this one's gonna be huge for you. The borrowing, and so I know so many courses off the top of my head. Like one is Todd. The way that my business coach, he launched his first program was with an affiliate. So he was doing more like high-end boutique consulting. He didn't have a huge email list, but through having an affiliate partner, I think they did over $1 million on that first launch. He had a list of 0. And Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi's recent course, that was a huge part of the marketing strategy. Is the partners are amazing, like helping to get the word out and spread the mission. And one of the like very first customers that went through Online Courses Academy, she didn't have any list at all, and she found one partner and made I think $20,000 on that first sale. So she had an email list of 0 people. We built the affiliate program through Online Courses Academy and her site, and she found just one partner and 20 grand from that first launch. And the best thing about this is that it just keeps going up and up. And so after that, then that initial launch, like now you can start to diversify your strategy with buying paid traffic and then continue to build your list. This I think is by far the most valuable, but it's also it's like a long-term strategy. It's a longer game. So that is my tidbits on that. Let me jump back over to OneNote. And finally, number 6 is going to be your launch strategy. So this is the way that you're getting your course and announcing this out into the world. And one of my favorite analogies or metaphors for this is thinking of your launch as like an ice cream shop. When you walk into an ice cream shop, and stick with me here where I'm going with this. But when you walk into an ice cream shop, like there's usually so many different flavors. There's like 100 or even more flavors. And think of those flavors as like your competition. So, or other people or other options. Like maybe it could be direct competition, or it could be going to like an actual like live webinar or live workshop, or taking an online or a college course, or buying from you versus someone else. So all these different flavors of ice cream are all the different options that your customers or potential customers have. And so how do you stand out in this ice cream shop to ultimately have them choose your flavor as what they're gonna have for the ice cream cone? And one of the first things that shows up is like, how do you usually start tasting a few different of the flavors, or at least I do when I walk in an ice cream shop. I like try at least probably 3 different flavors. And then depending on which one I like best, that is the one that I choose. And so your launch is like the opportunity to give people a taste of your flavor. And hopefully I'm explaining that clearly and that makes sense. But there's a few, and then if you go dive in even deeper, how do you choose which flavors to even try? And there's a few different like ways. Again, I'm just speaking from my own experience because this is how I choose which flavors. One is the name usually stands out to me. Like what is it called? If it's an interesting, like fun name that catches my attention, and that is like your copy or your messaging for your course. And then the way that it looks, like the color, whether it has like big chunks of marshmallow in it or something, that is like the design, and where I talked about kind of here, your high quality content and your well-designed membership site. The ones that look the most interesting or the best are the ones that you're going to try. And so these are all just like more like intricacies, but they play a big role in the success of your program and getting people to actually ultimately choose your ice cream flavor. I'm gonna grab some water. So yeah, Kristen said, how do you price yourself? And okay, like pricing is a really fun topic because it's difficult to do this. This is one of the things that I think people struggle with the most. But where I usually start, and this is just a starting point, is doing a competitive analysis and thinking about, well, what other options do your customers have when it comes to getting the solution that they're looking for? And so like, how much are other people charging? How much is another form? Like, I guess I'd probably mainly stick to online. So what is your competition charging? And you're really going to probably find that it ranges all over the spectrum. And that's why I say it's just a starting point, because honestly, like there's so many different ways that you can move the needle and on that spectrum and really price yourself as a premium price product. And that is I talk about that a lot in this first video. But the other component to think of is like, so first, competition. 2 is the ROI that they're going to be able to see. So it's easier if you're creating a product that has an actual like objective number to it. So for Online Courses Academy, pricing the course, honestly, like creating a course, if someone's able to successfully create a course after taking my program or create it faster, the ROI on that is really, 6 figures, 7 figures, it's substantial. So the potential for what they are able to see afterwards of achieving the result is another thing to keep in mind. Secondly, if it isn't like if it's not a business course or it's not more of an objective number like that, it's more subjective, you still want to think about it like in terms of ROI. And I'll use another customer as an example because we were talking about this recently, that has a course on thriving through divorce. And if you can have a divorce success, like I don't know if that's actually seems kind of like an oxymoron, a successful divorce, but if you can get through a divorce more amicably, what is the ROI on that for you? And when we started thinking about it, it is pretty freaking substantial. I mean, I again, never been married and I'm not divorced, but from what I've heard, they can get really messy. Like they can get extremely costly just because people's emotions get involved and people start fighting with their attorneys just because of, like more for spite over anything else. And then like what's the ROI if you're able to get through this process and have your kids not affected in like a negative way? Like they're not traumatized by the experience. And we kept going through it. And there were so many like huge ROI factors for her program that it was really easy to start thinking about pricing for that. And then what feels right to you also. Like this is the part where it's a lot more of an art. And if you have follow-up questions, put them in the comments because I can keep going on to it if you have any like specific things. But like I said, the proper course structure is more of like there's more of a science. There's a methodology behind it. Pricing is really, really an art. And then the other big thing is who are you going to be selling it to, and really decide on your niche. Because if you're creating a course, and you plan to sell this to like small businesses or medium businesses or as corporate licensing, like if you are creating it for corporate like licensing, so you're actually selling it to other companies or associations, you can probably add a zero to that price versus what if you were paying it or marketing it to just one-on-one. So a lot of things go into play here. And yeah, I'll end it with that. So another question in the group that I had, Kristen said, I'm starting to teach online live, and I had my first class. Now we're doing hourly rate. Yeah, I mean, so that's a good way to start, but an hourly rate is still, I would say that's more of a service than a scalable course, because that means that you're still trading time for money. And the real goal and objective here is that we're going to completely eliminate the trading time for money trap, where you could have hundreds or thousands of people joining your course and it's no longer reliant upon how many hours you have in the day. So that's a good starting point to get like the testimonials, the experience, and then I'll have to like think about how you can transition it to something like a little bit of a different model. So let me pull up the rest of my notes here. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. Oh, oops. Okay, so the next part of this in the workbook that in Course Alchemy is going through this for yourself, because like know your strengths and your weaknesses. I think clarity is power. And so figuring out where are you right now in this process and where is your biggest focus or where is your biggest weakness. So if you feel like you really still need to validate your idea, and you could need all of these right now, but if you feel like you need to validate your idea, then think of some ways that you can start getting customer or potential customers feedback. And a great way to do this is Facebook groups. So there's a Facebook group for basically anything, any single course for like entrepreneurial moms, for obviously health and fitness, for relationships, for marketing, for Facebook ads. There are a plethora. And so when you join these groups, you're now surrounded with people that are also interested, obviously, in your potential topic. And you're able to source through these and become, it's kind of like mining. I call it marketing detective work, where you're looking at the comments and seeing the questions that are coming up, that you're seeing the pain points and problems that are arising. And then it also gives you a great opportunity to be of value here. So when you're in these groups and you have the answers to these questions, you're really able to start forming relationships with people by just sharing your knowledge, your expertise. And the more that you do this, the more that you're going to start raising your authority status. And that's just one way. That there's a lot of different ways that you can obviously validate the idea. The other one is, which I think is great, is running a beta program. And I think it was Facebook Live, not last week, but 2 weeks ago, my Facebook Live was all about running a beta program. So I would suggest watching that if you feel like this is your area. The proper course structure, super important. If you're having a hard time getting your ideas out of your head, or you feel like that your course isn't really action focused, then this is going to be a high priority for you. And so when I say action focused, I think the courses that are the most valuable, or what really differentiates a truly successful course versus just another information product that like it's hard to sell, is or teaching your content in a different modality, whether it be like a webinar or a live or a book or something like that. What really separates the two is that courses, I believe, are more implementation action focused. And so what we talked about in the beginning up here, getting your customers from A to Z, that's what people want. They don't care about how long it's going to take. And honestly, like the faster, the better. And so many times people make this huge mistake of thinking more is better. And they start with the question of what's everything that I can teach on this topic, and how can I fit as much and jam as much as I possibly can into this course? And all you're doing really there is plummeting the value of it, because it's going to lead to overwhelm and a lack of implementation and action. So when you're thinking about structuring your course, every module there should be one extremely like clear action step or a goal for that module that you want someone to be able to take. And so I'll just use Online Courses Academy because that's the easiest for me because it's my course to explain and like the thought process behind it. Module 1 is validating your idea. So the action that I want people to take is to take and actually fall into these 6 things. That's why I structured it that way. So taking specific actions that allow them to make sure that they are creating a course that people actually want and need and are willing to pay for. Module 2 is outlining structure. So what we're talking about right here, I want people to have the action step that needs to be done is they need to have a finalized outline before they move on. Because I've said this many, many times before, but if you try to move on to creating content before you have this done, it's like taking a big pile of money, lighting a match, and then throwing it on the money and just watching it burst up in flames. Because creating content before you have that final outline and really understand how you want the course to structure is such a freaking waste of time, money, and energy. So what's going to end up happening is you're going to start creating content, spending all this time, and then realize, you know what, maybe I actually don't want to use that, or I need to restructure it here. So you just spent time, money, energy, blood, sweat, and tears on filming this video or creating this worksheet or designing this page for nothing because you're not even using that content anymore. Such a waste of time. The emotion behind that is just because I see it happen all the time, and it hurts my heart. So module 3 is creating content, how to film your videos, how to create your worksheets, how to script your videos, and actually, so the action step here is that I want them to be able to have their content finished. When you have your content finished, you can then move on to building your membership site. The other huge mistake I see people make with online courses is they get so wrapped up in the technology pieces of it before they even have their content finished. And it's like, why? Why are you spending time trying to figure out everything you need to know about the membership site or the email integration or the payment processor when you don't even have your course done? Because technology is changing so fast that by the time you have your course finished, there's a good chance that this is going to be different. There's going to be a new payment processor out there. There's going to be a new way to run Facebook ads. There's going to be a new, I don't know, widget app recording video software. So spending time stressing about this is another huge waste of time, money, and energy and resources until you have your course content there or done. And I completely understand, like you want to have a big picture overview of what needs to be. I think it's important to understand that it can be done and that you are going to be able to like get this done when it is time to do the tech. At least have a general idea of how it's going to happen. But there are hundreds of thousands of people that have created courses. If they can figure it all out, they're not any smarter than you are. There's people that have done it just with zero money, all themselves. You are going to be able to do it. And so just have confidence in that. I promise you, it's not that hard. But just in time learning, you really want to employ that. And then module 5 is I want them to create an affiliate program. Module 6 is I want them to have a launch strategy. So I kind of just went through all of these, but that is going back to this course structure, is you want to have your course outline really structured around core actions or milestones that your customers need to take. And that's going to be what differentiates you from everyone else, because you're going to be able to actually get people to take action and implement, and they're going to achieve an actual result versus just consuming a bunch of information without getting anything actually done. And when you can get your customers to do that, that is when you're going to see your customer lifetime value start to skyrocket, because any other program that you release after that, or any other products or services that you have to offer, then they're going to be more than willing or more than happy to purchase that from you, because you've already proved yourself. Like, you've proved that you are able to deliver results and help them get from where they are to where they want to be. It also increases the demand for your program, because now people are singing your praises. It starts to build your marketing army, because you have this network of people who know, like, and trust you. And there's so many, I think if you really focus on just getting your customers the results that you're promising, so many of the other pieces fall in line. And finally, we talked about the marketing army. The launch strategy is, how are you going to create get people to buy your ice cream flavor? Like, how are you going to get your ice cream flavor to stand out in the shop? And creating a strategy around this. Like this, there's a lot of intricacies that go into this as far as creating your pre-launch content and advertising, things of that nature. I'm not going to dive too much into it because, again, it's like super, like that could be a whole course in entirety, let alone a short Facebook Live. But if you have specific questions, you can post it in the group. And Kristen said, I saw your Forbes article and interested about online badges. So yeah, I love badges, and seeing this in action with the Knowledge Business Blueprint. Like I knew it was effective, but just seeing how excited people get about the badges, or through my own course, it's just, it does so many. The human brain is just so interesting. I love neuroscience. I can just geek out on it. But when you award a badge, like there's so many like psychological triggers that go into play with that. Like one is just the need for completion. Like people that like to see having everything checked off, especially if they're list makers, having an open badge, it kind of adds that, like that annoyance feeling. I know my brother is very much like this. Like if he has, I don't know, a list and something's not done, or on my phone, it drives him absolutely insane having notifications, like any of those red dots. And I think mine, I never even noticed it until he pointed it out. He's like, oh my God, Megan, that's going to drive me insane. It's not as bad as it was before. Oh wait, like the 666. I don't even know what that is. 29. My friend Brian, it bothered him too. It's so funny. Also, I never noticed it, but so just a need for completion. Also, when you award a badge and you have like that trigger, it gives your brain like a serotonin shot. So the happy pills are released immediately, and that tells your brain, even as it's as primitive as it is, like, oh, let's keep doing that because that was a reward that we achieved. And then there's a bunch of reasons, but the badges are pretty easy to implement. Like you can do it with LearnDash and BadgeOS, or you can do it directly with Membarium. And that's how I usually do it, just because it gives me a lot more flexibility. But yeah, definitely recommend that. Yes, if you guys have any other questions, post it in the group, and I will add the link here as well to the Facebook group, the free Facebook group for online course mastermind, as well as the link to sign up for course Alchemy if you haven't. And the next video is going to be released on, what's today, Friday? Monday. So module 2 will be on Monday, and then the Facebook Live will be on Tuesday. And until then, I think that's all. I feel like I'm forgetting something that I wanted to talk about, but I'll just come back on if I am. Anyway, thank you guys. I'll talk to you soon.